But yes, I appreciate that. And I am also going to see if I can forward you. If I lose internet again, I'm going to try and forward you this action plan as well, just in case you have to take over from the meeting for a little bit.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I can't share my screen while I'm off the computer, so I'll have to do it based on what I'm seeing here. So as mentioned, we have the monthly e-newsletter, so if you're willing to volunteer for that, please let me know. We'll come back to that in a little while. While this meeting at annual conference is normally in person, because it's a virtual format, we're doing this virtually. However, even in the past, when we've had the in-person meeting at the annual conference, the larger diversity committee has still met on a quarterly basis. So we will have planned meetings, and again, Jane will probably or Darlene will probably send that out in the future. But we're going to put on the calendar some dates, probably in March, June, and September, I think was what we originally discussed. Just to be aware of that'll be kind of the quarterly meeting for this entire diversity group to be meeting. I will have to confirm with Will. In the past, this committee has also been responsible for the diversity award judging. Last year we were not, though, so we'll have to confirm to see if that's still the case or not. But we'll get back to you all about that as well. As I mentioned, if you're willing to serve on that program subcommittee, a big piece of that is planning for next year's concurrent session, and that'd be 2022. Hopefully, knock on wood, in person in Raleigh. I know we all thought by now we'd be in person here in Michigan, so I don't want to make any assumptions there, but we will have a national conference next year, regardless of whether it will be virtual or in person, and that program subcommittee will be responsible for putting together that concurrent session. As I mentioned, we have a format this year that we're really excited about that involves a forum and Ignite sessions and breakout rooms. But the program subcommittee next year does not necessarily have to take that format. That'll be for that group to kind of decide is what is the best way to get a really engaging, exciting, informative concurrent session together via this diversity committee. Again, if you're interested in that, I really encourage you to go ahead and reach out to Jane and Darlene. Or you can let me know as well, and I can forward that information on to them. As I mentioned, the program subcommittee, another one of the responsibilities is looking at webinars. We try and get 1 or 2 webinars throughout the year together. We don't have to use for this meeting necessarily have to make a decision on what type of webinars or who to invite, but certainly we would like to get some names for that program subcommittee, which we have a subcommittee that already from last year. Anybody who's in that, obviously more than welcome to stay in that group, but we'd love to have new members on all those subcommittees as well. But that'll be something for that subcommittee to meet, probably, maybe not before the end of this year, but probably very early next calendar year to start planning on some of those pieces. The chair and chair-elect, one of their responsibilities will be to present the Mary Wells Diversity Award at the national conference. To be aware that that is a regular responsibility. A couple names we will need, and again, I'm kind of reviewing the entire list before I come back to it, because I wanted you to kind of have a chance to hear what some of these responsibilities are before anyone necessarily wants to try and go and commit to them. But one of the things is we do have a diversity resource list up. Hopefully you've had a chance to see that before. If not, if you go on the NEAFCS website, I think it's under member resources. And there's a diversity link and has a link of a lot of great resources we have. What we love is just to have 2 or 3 volunteers that would be just periodically checking that list. And when I say periodically, I mean maybe once or twice a year, just make sure that there's no dead links there, no links are incorrect. And of course, whether it's those who commit to looking at the list or anyone else from the committee, if you think you have really beneficial diversity related links you'd like to add to that website, please let us know, because we're always looking for new resources. But obviously those resources should either be research-based, extension-based, just as it is with any of the other educational material extension. And then the very last thing I have on this action item before I wrap back around to that list is planning for the 2022 NEAFCS Diversity Scholarships. So as I mentioned, this year we had 3 scholarship applicants. They were all accepted, which was very exciting. But one thing that subcommittee needs to do each year is, 1, make sure that there's funding available. Last year, we had to work very closely with Will Ferguson to see if we could get funding within the budget for NEAFCS, and we were very, very fortunate to be funded that way. But that is not a year-to-year guarantee. I know for that subcommittee, one of the discussions early in the year was if we do not get funding within the NEAFCS budget, could we ask for donations from state affiliates? And we actually had a couple state affiliates that were willing to commit to funds, which was awesome, but we didn't end up having to go that path. But basically, that scholarship committee, those responsibilities are twofold. One, making sure that there is funding, whether it's through the budget or some other way. And number two is really promotion. I know we probably didn't promote it as well as we could last year because we're really late in the cycle getting this together. The hope is for that diversity scholarship committee is to get it started now that we know we have a process, we have a scholarship, which again, that can be revised and updated if that subcommittee would like to do that. But then really work on promoting and making sure there's funding for that. All right, any questions with anything I just covered there? I know that was a lot of information. Unfortunately, there's a lot of information without a shared screen.
How much is the scholarship for again, Clem?
This year, before it moved to virtual, it was $250 for each accepted scholarship. Okay. And that $250 went directly to the conference dues. Since that was kind of the easiest function to do that. Again, there's nothing set in stone. That new scholarship subcommittee, which may be a mix of previous scholarship subcommittee members, plus anybody who'd like to join new, can set whatever they think is best for that scholarship that year. So it doesn't have to be the same 4 scholarships, $250. But that was the format last year, yes. $250 for those scholarships. And we were fortunate enough to have the funding through the NEAFCS, in the NEAFCS budget. All right. So let's circle back to the top and let's talk a little bit about, and again, most of the time, most years, I don't think we get all 12 months committed for that NEAFCS article. But just to make life a little bit easier as we move forward, we would love to have the next at least 3 to 5 months set for authors for those e-newsletter diversity articles. So hopefully you have some time to think about it. Is anybody interested in being an author for the next year's cycle?
Hi, Glenn. Oh, go ahead.
I can help you if you wanted to.
Okay, perfect. Is there a particular month? And I know the first person, or I guess for the first month, November 15th is a very short time frame, so I'm warning anybody ahead of time. But if anybody thinks they can get an article together by November 15th, that'd be great to get the first one. And again, it's about 250 words. It's a relatively small article. I'll also say November 15th is what we have published as the deadline for the action item or for the action plan. But in truth, as long as you can get it within a week after that original deadline, it's usually not an issue to get in the article. So in truth, it's probably November 22nd is the more honest deadline. We just tell people a little bit earlier in case.
Glenn, I'd be happy to. I will tackle that.
Okay, perfect.
And I want to volunteer for writing one throughout the year.
Okay, perfect. Is there any month you would like to commit to?
No, I mean, I don't have any preference right now. The November was a bit tight.
But yeah, so it looks like Tracy's willing to do November, which is perfect. And thank you again, Tracy. If you think December 15th is a good deadline, just going chronologically.
Can I have something in the name?
No, that's fair.
I can take December. I can take December. It's no big deal.
Okay.
Perfect.
Actually, you know, I don't know why I say I don't have any preference. Clearly, I want February.
Okay, I'll put you down for February.
So what's the date that you needed in February?
If you want to do it for the February one, it would be January 15th would be the deadline.
Okay, can I have March?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, so February 15th, is that right?
Yes, would be the due date for the
yeah.
yeah. All right, and unfortunately, because I am on the phone, because it looks like we still haven't gotten internet back in the office. I didn't happen to see who had committed to the January article, which would be due December 15th.
I am, Nellie Nelson.
Ellie Nelson. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right. And again, we apologize for this this format. Sometimes technology is awesome. Sometimes technology is what it is right now. All right. Okay, perfect. Anybody interested in the February newsletter, which would be, or February article for the newsletter, which would be due January 15th? I know it's reporting season, so I feel like that's part of the reason everybody's like, I tell you what, I'll go ahead and commit to that one, because I actually do have something in mind. Which I guess that's the other thing. And again, I'm not going to put those who committed on the spot right now. If you don't have an idea of what your topic is, at this point, that's fine. You don't have to know right this minute. But if you do have an idea, it can sometimes be helpful to the other speakers so that they don't duplicate the exact same type of articles. I will say the one I am planning on doing is, if anybody knows that Coming Together for Racial Understanding program, that program has some really great guidelines for how to have more, I guess, more civil discussions, whether it's formal, informally discussions on some of these more polarizing diversity related topics. And I thought that would be really great to kind of share what some of those are for those who are having those sorts of conversations. So just so everybody knows, that's probably what I will plan to do for that February newsletter.
Glenn, can you just, because this is new to me, can you just remind me what kind of topics within diversity you're looking for? Does it have to be specifically related to some kind of program, or can it be a bit more?
It doesn't just have to be a program. Yeah, it can be pretty broad. So it can be either, I shouldn't say just these, because there's a number of different avenues you can go. You can review a specific program that's going on in your locality. You can do more educational. So we have had articles that discuss like having civil conversations. We've had articles that discuss like biases and implicit bias. And talking about some national guidelines for things, basically anything really on the topic of diversity that could be program, educational. It's just really the important thing to kind of frame around when you're trying to plan what to write is that, is it a or about diversity, some way related to diversity, and B, is it to the benefit of NEAFCS members?
Okay.
And if it checks both of those boxes, I'm sure it'll probably be good. Yeah.
Okay. Is it possible to talk either with you or someone to sort of like bounce ideas, so I don't start writing about a topic that's not it, or that, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead, and I almost never use Zoom on my phone. So let me see if I can figure this out real quickly. I'm going to put my email address in chat.
So I'll send you an email, and then we can sort of.
Yes,
I
and
think I got it, but I don't
want.
want to get like, you know, research something and then get excited and then, oh, that's not it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I will say, I will be sending, again, either I or Jane will be sending all the speakers that have committed today an email that gives you a little more information about what's looking for words, would have been past subjects, as well as I think a Word document that has like 2 or 3 examples. And I will say that's an idea I stole directly from Tracy, who was on this call, which I think was great information for the speakers. And I'll just resend that. Either Jane or I will resend all the information.
And I just wanted to share, like, anything that you're seeing going in extension or your college or university, an initiative that you'd like to share is even appropriate. I did something, I think my first article, I did something pretty personal. My son is color deficient. And so, I mean, he's young, but like, it has made me think of like how I do flyers, how I do, you know, in color curriculum, and what colors pop and what colors don't, why his pumpkins were lime green for years. We didn't understand why. So just things like that. I had so many comments come back to me of people who had never thought that, and it just caused them to pause and to help them to kind of, just a little bit bigger worldview. So even something like that, and I didn't really mean to make it personal, but it just kind of resonated with me. So that's kind of where I went with it. But we've seen all different kinds. And like Glenn said, he has some examples, and hopefully that will help also.
Yeah, personal or programmatic or just purely educational. Again, I don't want to box people in that have really great ideas. It's really, if it's around 250 words, so it fits, if it's about diversity, and if it's going to benefit NEAFCS members, it almost certainly will get the thumbs up. All righty, perfect. Anyone else interested in committing to future months? So it's great. We got a good start. We've got the first 4 months set up. So that's the December one due November 15th, and then the January, February, and March ones as well. So we still are looking for April and later, if anyone would like to commit to those. If not, we'll have those quarterly meetings. Jane or I will be sending out those emails. So just let us know.
Hi, Glenn. It's Michelle from Rutgers. I have a question. I don't know if this would really fit as a newsletter article, but what's on my mind and what my colleagues at Rutgers are always struggling with is translation services and the most culturally appropriate way to do translations. So I don't know if that's more of like a question I pose on a blog, or I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just something we can discuss at this meeting. But I'd love a way to sort of poll the committee and the membership at large at how they are handling translations, especially in the online environment.
Yeah, no, and that's a great question. And I will say, to take that two sides, if that's a question you have, and is everyone familiar? And if you're not, it's a little bit to navigate to it, but there is an internal communication system within the NEAFCS website. Again, unfortunately, if I had internet right now, I'd go ahead and share my screen and show you the navigation of it. But through the website, there is I'm trying to remember based purely on memory. If you go to the website, I think if you go to your profile and you go to, I think it's like My Circle.
I'm familiar. I just don't know how active it is. And maybe this is just something, just like a call out in the newsletter, like if people could contribute how they do it, what they use, how much it costs. I mean, it's.
I think it's very interesting. I would be very curious about reading what others are doing, or even, for example, I always wonder whether we have to write something in English and make it available in Spanish, or just go ahead and make things, for example, available in Spanish. Just, why, and I'm not saying it is, but why the default is like write it in English and then translate it rather than the other way around, or having something that is exclusively for Spanish.
Right. Right. So there's that question of print and asynchronous or synchronous, virtual.
And how the process, like, does it always involve sort of the default in English or not? And then the realities of who you go to, how much you pay, you fund that, where do you get it from?
Right.
I think I'd be super interested either in reading your article or contributing if you want to bounce ideas.
I couldn't write an article about it because I have nothing to say about it because we don't have a system here,
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, like how do we as a committee put together.
I think that would be
let's do a landscape analysis of what people are doing.
Yeah, even maybe a survey and asking people. Do a survey on Qualtrics and sort of almost have a baseline description of how it's done.
If I can contribute with something, I was choose here in Florida because, as you can hear by my accent, I speak 4 or 5 languages. Spanish is my mother tongue. So the Committee of Communications of my department, they have, I was the speaker person for the national and international video of Spanish classes with maintenance of the house. So that was a committee that saw the recording of 3 or 4 agents speaking Spanish, and they evaluate which one was the most cultural appropriate when they were speaking. My counterparts, they were from Puerto Rico and was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia. So they choose me that, and they choose me as the speaker for a farm worker program that we are doing as well here in Florida, because of my Spanish was very culturally appropriate, and the terminology and everything I use. And when I do publications in Spanish, people has mentioned that as well. So Michelle, that is very, very, very good, because the slang that somebody can start to put in certain publications is completely different than somebody speaking in Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia, Ecuador, Argentina. And there are terms that I don't understand. I need to ask, what are you talking about? So, because yes, it's a proper, the Spanish tongue comes from Spain. So there are countries that are very similar to that one. And the slang that can appropriate after those is distortion and it's not clear, but you hit the nail. That is a huge problematic thing. And the cost to do those kind of publications or translations are very expensive.
Yes, I mean, everything you said is exactly right. And how do we manage all of those different dialects? I don't even know if dialects is the right word, but you know, what do you do in the situation? I'm so aware of that. So it's not just, you know, black and white, English to Spanish. I mean, obviously, like you just described, and I don't know if that's true of other languages either. I mean, you know, in New Jersey, we have, I forgot the number, incredible number, you know, diversity of language, but when translations are done, they just tend to be Spanish. But even within like our SNAP Ed group, you know, they're depending on what city you're presenting in or what part of the state, and we're a very small state, but we've got, you know, all of the nationalities you just spoke about, Nellie. So I don't know how to tackle it. It's way beyond my brain, what my brain can figure out. And I only speak English, so I'm no help.
I will say, if you want to try to set up a survey and maybe do that through that internal communication, which I think we do have, it's usually pretty active, and we have something like 60, 70 people on that email list. And maybe if you want to start that way, see what information, I think it would create a really unique and really great, like really informative article if you were up for this, where you can consolidate some of the responses and see what people had to contribute based on that topic. That seemed like a feasible approach.
If I could have a couple people helping me on that, yeah.
I'll help you, Michelle, because I'm very interested in it.
Okay, thanks, Maria. I'll put my email in the
Me too.
chat. Oops.
All right, perfect. Let me get myself resituated. All right, so we have speakers for the next 4 months, which is awesome, and we have another. I mean, do you think for this for the survey, getting the information together and getting something, an article together as a result of that, do you all think March 15th is a reasonable date for that?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sorry for this article based on translation and getting information back from other diversity committee members and trying to put an article together for that. Do you all feel that March 15th is a reasonable deadline for that? Basically, can I pencil you in for that? No. Okay. Okay, and that's fine. That's perfect because then I know not to put you down for that date.
I don't know what Michelle you're thinking, but I'm thinking let's talk first, see how, because I can't really think about how many steps, and I would be guessing that it's going to take us probably longer than what we think.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, not a problem. So I will not pencil down for any of the months yet. And then, yeah, just let me know when you get back to it. When you guys had a chance to kind of chat a little bit more about it, and then we'll go ahead and look at potential dates in the future, but certainly no rush. All right, so continue moving down this agenda. So I think the next big piece is for the program subcommittee. Again, we have an existing group for that subcommittee, but we'll have to check with them to see if everybody from that subcommittee is interested in continuing. But is there anyone in this group that is interested in joining that program subcommittee?
Glenn, can you remind me what's the program
Interested, I'm so sorry.
subcommittee?
Oh yeah, so not a problem. So for that program subcommittee, there's two pieces on the action item that kind of fall under the I guess purview of that program subcommittee. One is for the concurrent session for that upcoming annual conference. So for 2022 in Raleigh, that program subcommittee would be working on creating a plan for what type of concurrent session to put together. And again, that could be like the format we have this year, which is a forum / ignite / breakout sessions, or can do something completely different. I know the diversity committee in the past has done some that are specific to one program or one idea. That's perfectly fine as well. It's basically whatever that program subcommittee is interested in doing. But their big responsibility is, one, the concurrent session for next annual session, but also looking to recruit speakers for webinars throughout the year.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you need some time to think about it, look at your calendar, see what kind of your workload is going to be for the next 12 months or so. I'm not going to put everybody on the spot right now, but if you are interested in that, go ahead and feel free to email me, which hopefully everybody still has that in chat. But that's something big to consider. Let me see. Anybody want to commit to kind of periodically reviewing that resource list on the website?
I'd be happy to.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tracy. Again, that's just every couple, maybe a couple times a year, just look through the list, make sure the links are working. And then obviously if you've kind of seen any really interesting, great resources that you'd like to add to that list, any additional resources, great.
And who would be my contact? Is it the VP that's over us, or the chair? I'm trying to see who's the chair next.
It would probably be the chair, which will be Jane Henderson.
Okay.
I know my internet has been crazy, but does everybody still see in chat the last time I put their contact information for both Jane and Darlene?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. But yes, that would be who to contact, and I guess they probably have to get in contact with Will to get that updated as well.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, perfect. Anyone else would like to help Tracy as well? So it's not all on you, Tracy.
I'm putting it on my calendar now so I don't forget the next, twice or so in a year. Is that what you said, Glenn?
I think just a couple of times a year, just to make sure there's no
Okay.
deadline. I think, Tracy, were you part of that group that had that really big update a couple of years ago?
Yes, I was. I actually, yeah, it was like the summer of the pandemic, and it was a pretty big update. So, but it was actually cool to like dive into to see the resources that are out there. And I'm sure I didn't even touch on all of it. I mean, I know I didn't. So yes, I think we're always open to having more. So if anyone on the call or on this meeting sees anything or has anything, please send it to me, so that I'll just collect them and then send them off to Will. I think is really who is the person that
The person will actually make the changes. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and you all and who had helped you, Tracy, and I don't remember who had helped you back then, but you guys made a really great, amazing kind of update to that. So I will say for everybody else, I don't think the expectations when we talk about the action item is that amount, that level of work. That it's more just again re-review it, and if you have suggestions, go ahead and add them. But just take that time a couple of times a year to just kind of look through the links. And I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and put my name on there as well to just kind of browse through that list of times this year.
Okay. Do we know the last time it was looked at? Like, does it need to be like pretty soon? Just to kind of get a baseline, or are we talking like, February, let's start?
We can put specific days on there to make it a little bit, or specific months on there to get it a little more idea. Last year's action plan, we just had an idea of ongoing. We had a couple names, a couple people that had looked throughout that the year. I think there's just a couple links that went dead that had to be adjusted, but I think within the last 6 months, someone's had eyes on it.
Okay, alrighty. So maybe like February, August kind of thing. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I'm gonna go ahead and
Okay.
put that, we can get that on the next
Awesome.
action item. Instead of ongoing, say check February and August.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm happy to do that. I can let's put that on my calendar now.
All right, perfect.
Tracy, can you put your email in the chat that we find something, we can send you the email and letting you know? Thank you.
All right, and the very last thing I had on here, so it's a pretty quick meeting. I saw Danielle Jessup wasn't here a second ago. It looks like she may have jumped in and jumped out. Again, we're not 100% sure if the diversity committee is still responsible for that diversity award judging. It was in the past, but wasn't last year. But if we are, so this is kind of a conditional one, but if we are, is anyone interested in judging some of those diversity awards? And we would need 3 judges and an alternate.
I can help you with that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I can too.
Okay, perfect.
I can assist as well.
That is awesome. All right, so we've got 3 people. We got all 3 judges. We just need a potential alternate. Is anyone willing to be the alternate? Which that's double conditional. So it's if we as a diversity committee are doing the judging, and then if one of the 3 are unable to do that.
I can do that. I'm happy to be the alternate if no one else wants to.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, I think those are probably realistically the biggest pieces we need to get done on this action plan. Which I guess the other thing I'll add is last year, I tried to schedule meetings based on doodle polls. And you guys can be honest with me, and I won't be the incoming chair either, so it won't be up to me anyways. But were those doodle polls helpful way of scheduling, or was it just a little bit too much? So I guess how do you prefer to have those quarterly meetings decided in terms of date? That just the leadership group kind of decides on dates, or do you like the option of a doodle poll?
I like the option of the doodle poll. I mean, I think it just helped, even though, yeah, I do. I think that's helpful.
I'm not sure I received any of them last year.
Were you part of the?
So last year I attended the first meeting.
Okay.
And then I thought I was part of it. And then, it slipped off my mind. And then this year comes and I'm like, oh, I thought I had joined that committee, but I clearly didn't receive anything throughout the year.
Oh, if you didn't get anything, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. So, and there's a way to I guess officially be joined in terms of the website portion.
Okay.
And the really important thing there is you get all those internal messages. So if throughout the year you never got anything from NEAFCS specifically on the diversity committee, that probably means you're not on that directory.
Okay, so I have to go on the website to be in that, to check.
Yes, and I wish off the top of my head I knew exactly how that was done. But I
Okay,
think
no,
it's
I'll look it up.
Yeah, there's member resources and there's join a committee. And I think you can do it that way. But I think it's how you get yourself officially on that kind of email
Okay.
list.
If not, I will ask my colleague Rosie to forward me the invite in the meantime.
Perfect. But all right, so we've got a lot of names on this list. We've got for at least the next 4 months coming up for the e-newsletter. If there are other things, and the other thing is this doesn't have to be the action item every single year or action plan every single year. If there are other ideas or initiatives that you think this diversity committee should look at tackling moving into next year, the floor is open. Let us know if you guys have any other ideas. Again, I will be the past chair coming up, but I will be sure to forward on these ideas and thoughts and any information we have from this action plan onto Jane and Darlene.
And Glenn, maybe you said it, but who do the articles get sent to that people are writing?
So the process for that is generally you'll send it to the chair plus the VP of member resources. And then the committee, the diversity committee chair will then send it on to the NEAFCS secretary.
Okay, thanks.
But just so that committee chair can have a chance just to make sure it's in the template, it's, you know, around the right amount of words, make sure that's, yeah, topically correct, I guess. Which generally, again, as long as it's about diversity and it's to the benefit of the members, it'll almost certainly get thumbs up.
So Kareem just put in the chat that she'll volunteer for a diversity article for the e-newsletter.
And I know some people have been coming in, and whether or not you had other scheduling things, or hopefully the time zone things didn't confuse folks, because I noticed a couple people came in right at noon, or noon Eastern time. But yes, so we have, just as a recap for those who had just come in the last few minutes, we've been going through the action plan. Also recap, the reason I'm on my phone is our office lost internet, which was perfect timing. It happened like right at 11:01. But yes, we've got the first 4 months for the e-newsletter have been committed to, but if anybody's interested in future months, so starting with the April newsletter with the due date of March 15th, any month from April through November is still open. And I'll periodically bring up chat, but if Kareem, yeah, it'd be great if you wanted to do one. Let me know if you have a preference for any months. If you have no preference and April works well for you, I'll just do it chronologically. April works? Okay, perfect. And for anyone else who's joined, if you'd like to do, okay, somebody volunteering for September. Okay, I will put you down for September. So that'll be the September newsletter due August 15th.
Yes, and this is Diana Romano.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And I will say for
So,
those,
Glenn,
Oh, sorry,
just, it's Michelle. So what are still open? So Maria and I know what our openings still could be.
so I'll give you in terms of due dates. So, and it'll always be the month after the due dates. The open dates are April 15th, May 15th, June 15th, July 15th, September 15th, and October 15th.
What about July, Michelle? Do you think that will do?
And that would be due, those, wait, I'm sorry. Those
July,
dates
it
or
would be due
the-
July for August, is that right?
Yeah, so the July 15th one would be due, or yeah, the July 15th one, that's the due date, would be for the August newsletter.
Okay. All right.
Okay, perfect. I'll go ahead and put you out of time. And again, if anybody, for whatever reason, you know, obviously things happen in life we don't expect. If anything happens and you have to delay, or even if you want to go the other way and bump up and there's an open month, we can certainly be flexible as well. So let me know if you end up having to change. But all right, so we've got the next 5 months and then 2 of the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months after that committed to. So I think that's a really good start. It'll be on the committee chair and committee chair elect to kind of reach out and see if we can get some more of those months committed to as well. I will say, as we have people popping in as well, what I also want to do is give everyone an opportunity to kind of introduce themselves. So those who had come in over the last 10, 15 minutes or so, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and unmuting and introducing yourself. Unfortunately, I can't see the list in order. So yeah, just whenever you're ready then.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karim Martinez, and I'm at New Mexico State University, and I'm an Extension Family Life Specialist.
Welcome, Kareem.
Hi, I'm Linda Lober, and I'm with Oklahoma State University. And I've already communicated with Diana Romano, since we serve on the same state, that I will let her do it, and I'll just serve on another committee. No problem.
And you can have multiple people from the same state. So if you're interested in serving, you're more than welcome to. But if you all are also have the plan of divide and conquer, you can certainly do that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Linda.
Yes, I was thinking the same. I had just replied to her because, I mean, we can both be here. And I'm Diana Romano. I'm an assistant state specialist with CNEP, which is like SNAP Ed and FNEP.
Yep. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you. And I'm sorry I got the time. I have everything else on Central Time, but for some reason, I don't know why I was thinking it was at 11 for me. But yeah.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
I will watch the recording.
Yeah. Which this recording is going to be a little bit pieced together for those who don't know. Right at the start of the meeting, we had some internet issues. So there is, I think, maybe 15 minutes to start it. And then there's going to be a break and there'll be a separate recording. And unfortunately, it will be NEAFCS/Will's task to put that together as one video.
Thank
We
you.
have Michelle joined us.
Yes,
Oh, hi, Michelle.
yeah, hey, it's been a crazy morning because I got in I said, let me get on into y'all's because you might end early. The other committee was waiting on me to get in just to say the greeting and they were done. So I said, I'm going to get in just in case, but I want to welcome you guys. Hoping you'll enjoy annual session, bring you greetings from the board, to tell you also we're so happy to have the opportunity to be able to work with each of you. You are one heck of a committee. I appreciate everything. And I know this is the board sentiments as well. We appreciate everything you guys do to make NEAFCS what it is. Without you guys, there is no NEAFCS. But just continue doing the great things that you guys are doing. And you've had a great group of leaders on this committee, and we're just so proud of all that has come from this committee. And I look forward to being a part of the Ignite, to just be able to be in there and to watch that. So I'm looking forward to what's to come. So have a great time this week.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
You're welcome.
And as you mentioned, yeah, this committee's done some amazing things in the past, both recent past and over the last previous few years as well. If you want to be part of that leadership, so there is one thing. So you came at a good time, Michelle, because we were probably going to conclude not too far from now. One thing I forgot to circle back to that's really important is that we do not currently have a committee apprentice. So think of the committee apprentice as the chair-elect. So the committee apprentice would become the chair-elect next year. And then would become the committee chair the following year. If anyone is interested in that, you can either let me know. Again, Jane Henderson will actually be the incoming committee chair. You can let her know if you have interest as well. I know it's kind of putting people on the spot, but I want you to have that in the back, if not the almost front of your mind. If that's something you'd be interested in helping with as well. And if you need any clarification on kind of what are the tasks as well, I am more than happy to answer some of those questions too.
Could you please provide us more information about what are those? Because this is the first time for me here, so I have no idea. Thank you.
Sure, not a problem. So the committee chair is basically responsible for running these meetings at the annual conference, to set up the action plan, responsible for kind of finalizing the action plan as well, with the help and input of the chair-elect and apprentice. Something I had this conversation with Jane and Darlene before, something that I think they'll probably do that has not been finalized as well, is that the chair-elect and the apprentice, each one will probably chair one of the subcommittees, which that's a brand new idea. But the chair-elect and apprentice would each be chairing either the scholarship subcommittee or the program subcommittee, which doesn't mean that the committee chair won't also be attending most of those meetings. But just a way to kind of divide the duty a little bit more, just so that committee chair is not responsible for chairing all three of those groups. But yeah, I see in chat. Yeah, I think that's a good idea as well. I mean, it was great being a part of that, but it is a bit of a heavy lift. So it makes things a little more divided between the three of them. So for instance, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say good idea also, because that way they get used to, as they see you do things, then the chair-elect and the apprentice get used to, working with the committees and all that. So when they are the chair, it's going to be like a lower learning curve,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think it does make life a little bit easier, because I had kind of a unique position for myself, as where I actually came in as committee apprentice, and I think the chair-elect was unable to do it the following year. So I kind of got moved from committee apprentice to committee chair, with also not having had that time to work as chairing a subcommittee. And it's a pretty abrupt having to kind of go to that level of kind of responsibility. So I think this helps give you kind of those baby steps in there. And I shouldn't say baby steps, because working with a subcommittee is really important work, and it is a little time consuming, but not overwhelmingly so.
And Glenn, I think you've done such a great job, given that whole, I mean, you would never know that you didn't have all those steps. I think you've done a great job, if I might say so. So thank you.
Nope.
For all you've done for the
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And
I agree.
Thank you. And I'll definitely continue to be involved as the subcommittee past chair. But the leadership will move on to Jane and Darlene, which I think I saw Darlene arrive.
Yep, I'm here. I just popped over. I've had about 2 or 3 Zoom calls this morning.
Not a
Classes. Yeah, so I'm in Huntsville at a SAI conference. I'm doing about 3 or 4 different things. But I'm here.
Yeah, it's a lot of juggling, but thank you so much for coming. We're actually probably going to wrap up a little bit soon, but I'm glad you came, so you have a chance to introduce yourself to everyone. But Darlene will be your committee chair-elect. And Jane, who I think was unable to make it today, but she'll actually be the committee chair as well. So you two will kind of be in those leadership positions.
So hello, everybody. My name is Darlene Minifield. I work with, I'm from Alabama, and I work with Alabama A&M University and Auburn University. So I am, my program area is, I was finna say human nutrition, diet, and health, which it was, but they just switched me to and family and child development. So now I'm just all family. I had a split dual program area. So now they're going to singular one program. So now I'm just family and child development, finance. Welcome to everybody. Thank you all for coming on and being a part. I hope that we could work together in the upcoming year. So if you need anything, please reach out to me. And thank you, Glenn, for everything. You made it seem so seamless, so, I mean, whoever would have known that you skipped 2 or 3 steps, and you did it with grace and dignity. So thank you so very much for all that you do. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for stepping up in the leadership role. You got a great group to work with, so I think it'll be a seamless transition for sure. I will be sending. I'm going to probably type up these results. I may not get to it before the end of the week because we have so much going on with annual conference. But by next week, I will send it for you and Jane to kind of review and work on finalizing that action plan. Really, the only big piece that hasn't been done yet, or I guess a couple pieces. We've gotten a lot of names for the upcoming e-newsletter, which is great. Just a few more months starting in, and not starting until April, but from April and beyond. I think, what is it? It's 5 of those 7 months after April. We'll need speakers, but there's plenty of time to get that done and discuss that at quarterly meetings in the future. And see if we can get a committee apprentice as well. Because Darlene, I think based on previous discussion, you'll be chairing one of the subcommittees and then the chair-elect will be chairing the other one. And it'll be up to whoever that is, to the two of you to kind of just discuss who prefer which committee.
Okay. Okay,
All right.
great.
I'm sorry, can you guys tell me the name of the chair? I forgot.
The committee chair is Jane Henderson from Virginia.
Jane, okay, Jane Henderson. Okay, so I have a question. Since she wasn't able to make this meeting, this is the meeting where we normally do like the plan of work, but I know I joined like an hour late. So did you guys already work on the plan of work, or do we need to wait until we meet with her later at another time?
We were able to actually get a significant part despite some technical issues, as
Okay.
and again, for those, and I know those who've been in here since the beginning have heard me repeat this probably 18 times, so I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. But yeah, I lost internet access, which is why I'm on my phone and I've got this video shaking all over the place. Sorry if I made anybody dizzy.
Oh,
My plan was to have the action plan shared on the screen, but we kind of did it verbally instead.
okay.
But I think it worked out great. We have, so we have accomplished to this point is for the next 12 months, we have the next 5 months plus 2 more speakers. So 7 of the 12 speakers for e-newsletters, but still have 5 open months if anybody's interested in that. We have names for judging that diversity award applications. Last year, that didn't fall under the committee's responsibility.
Mhm.
But in case it does fall under the committee's responsibility again, because I haven't heard either way, we do have names for that, which is great. I did just make a plug for the program subcommittee and for the scholarship subcommittee. We have people that are already on those subcommittees that are welcome to continue participating, but also if someone would like to newly join one of those subcommittees, that would be great as well. Again, the program subcommittee's responsibility is to plan for that concurrent session for next annual session, as well as to try and reach out and schedule a couple diversity related webinars throughout the year. And the scholarship subcommittee's main responsibility is there is a structure for the scholarship and a grading matrix already. So probably the biggest responsibilities for that scholarship subcommittee is to confirm funding, which hopefully there's already funding through the NEAFCS budget, but that's not guaranteed. So just to look into that, as well as promoting that scholarship to make sure that those who are interested in providing diversity related scholarship or diversity related concurrent sessions know about that scholarship opportunity. Which last year there was 4 of those scholarships open for $250 each before it was moved to a virtual format, and then that amount was reduced to either 100 or 125.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. But I would reach out to Jane and Darlene if you're interested in serving on either of those subcommittees.
And I put my email in the chat, so if you want to reach out to me.
Darlene, can you remind me? Oh yeah, you say Alabama, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thanks.
But we'll probably, and Darlene, I'll catch up with you and Jane, but one of the 3 of us will probably send the information we have for the action plan before its deadline. So if anybody has any suggestions for changes or additions or revisions, there'll be some opportunity for that. But otherwise, that's what we covered over the previous, I guess, hour, a little over an hour or so. Did anybody have anything else they'd like to share with the group or any other additions to the action plan? We also had a couple people volunteer to look over the diversity resource list, just kind of as an ongoing thing to do just a couple times a year, just to make sure that none of those links are dead links. But also as a general idea to anyone on here is if you have any web resources you'd like to have on that NEAFCS diversity resource list, please let Tracy or I know. And then we can go ahead and forward that on to Will, who can add it to the website.
Okay.
All right.
Did we get a list of everyone today who was on the meeting?
What we can do is everyone is willing to just real quickly put your name and state and email address in chat. And that way we have that list, and then I'll leave it to Darlene if you want to go ahead and copy and paste that once everybody's done that. But that is a good idea to have that. And I see a couple people have already done that. I'll add for myself as well. And Darlene, if you wouldn't mind when you copy and paste it, would you mind emailing that to me as well?
Sure.
All right, and has everybody had a chance to put their information in chat? All right, great. I had nothing else to add to the group. We have one more that came in. If nobody else has anything else to add as well, I appreciate everybody's time. I appreciate everybody's patience with some of the technical issues. But we got a lot done for the action plans. It was a really great start. And I appreciate everybody's willingness to contribute as well, because we got some names for almost everything on there, which is a really great start for the action plan. But if nothing else, and if everyone's gotten a chance, and Darlene, I'll give you a second if you're able to get everything from chat.
Mhm.
All right.
I think I got it.
If there's nothing else, then everyone have a great annual conference. And I'm sure we'll see each other probably and quote unquote, see each other online in other sessions. Yep, the in passing. And don't forget that diversity concurrent session is at noon Eastern. And make sure I'm not saying this incorrectly. Yes, noon Eastern on Wednesday. If you're able to attend that, that would be great as well. All right, everyone have a great week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
everyone.
Darlene, do you have everything you need?
Yeah, I was just checking to make sure. I know he said one other person came in, but I think I got them. I think I got everybody.
Okay.
Just making sure. Okay.
Yes,
now
we need to record, so I hope that I can download this.
Oh, yeah. So I needed it. Okay, there was one that I didn't get. So let me paste that in. All right. I am. Okay. Okay. I think I got everybody. I think it was about 13 that was on.
Yep.
So I think I got everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much. Sorry to hold up everything.
No, that's okay.
All right. You have a good one.
Yep, you too.
Be